Hey, welcome back to Cocky Gachas, and in this video we're going to touch on the level sync and why I think the level sync is super important when it comes to progression, especially for a new account. So of course right here you can see on screen this is my level sync and I have a lot of slots because I'm a day 1 player. However, for you beginners, you do not have this many slots, right? But the good thing about level sync is that once upon a time it was actually 24 hours cooldown, but now it's actually 4 hours. So you can really exploit the level sync in a multitude of ways when you have limited slots. The first thing that I'm going to touch on is definitely about the gates itself. So right here we are going to go to the gates, and you can see over here I do have my gates, and one day that I would think that is the best to exploit this is on the Sunday, because on Sundays itself all the gates are open, right? So what you can do, for instance, is on the previous day itself you plan out what your level sync is going to look like on a Sunday, and then coming into Sunday you are just going to clear the gate that you can clear, right, with the current level sync. And then once you clear that gate, go straight on to trigger the cooldown, remove those units from the level sync, and then put in other units from the different faction itself, so that you can clear all the gates at once. And the reason why I say that clearing gates is so important is because the rewards itself is fixed, so it doesn't matter, right? Look at this, I am currently on stage 109 and the rewards should look exactly the same as yours, right, for the earlier levels as well. So all those crystals are going to help you progress a lot, and also especially these epic shards and those mana dust as well as gold, right, they are going to be very valuable when it comes to early game progression. So I'm sure that most of you might know about this, but the next thing that I'm going to tell you guys might be something that you're unaware. So when we go into dual gates itself, and also when we go into, for instance, Hall of Memories, I'm going to demonstrate it later. So right here when we go into dual gates, you know that the problem with dual gates is that you will need to have 10 units that you can fill so that you can clear the dual gates. And dual gates honestly is one of the most important things when it comes to the progression long term, right? In the early game, honestly it's not as important. You wouldn't be able to see the impact that mana crystals have on your progression, but it's very important to do a higher difficulty, and some people cannot do the higher difficulty because you might be able to clear this one with the more difficult unit. You can clear this, right? Most likely you are using your strongest units already. So for this stage itself, for instance, if I've used like the Chloe, I've used like something like my Talia, right, and then I cannot use them again for this second battle, and that is where the problem lies. Similarly for the Hall of Memories, once your units die off, right, they cannot come back to life, and that is something that is very important to note. So the reason why I mentioned this is because the level sync can help you do this in a very effective way. Of course, for me right now my level sync is full of slots, right? I can fill plenty of units, but for you guys that cannot do so, and I think the best way for you guys to do is to fill duplicate units. So duplicate units, fill them in, right? Look at this, I fill in a second Catherine, I fill in my second Vivi, and perhaps I can even fill in something else like a tank, right? I can even put in a Chloe. So these are the most needed slots, and the reason why I would do this is very simple, because once you go into the dual gates, you'll be able to understand what exactly is happening, right, when you do this. So going to adventure, wait, I clicked wrongly here, go into adventure, go to dual gates, go into battle, and now you are able to see the second VV over here. Oh wait, this is the first VV, second VV, second Catherine, and second Chloe itself. This is also very useful for other units. I'm going to touch on them later. But what this does is that this units, you'll be able to use these units for the dual gates in 2 separate battles, right? There's no limit to say that you cannot fill duplicate units throughout the whole instance of dual gates. So what you can do, use your stronger, like a VV or Chloe, right, or your Catherine for this first battle itself, and then once you go into the second battle, right, once they are no longer available, you can then fill in the backup Vivi, the backup Chloe, right, and the backup Catherine. So this one is something that people or most beginners do not know about. They think that, oh, if I have a level sync, I should fill the units that are different, right, so that I can have a wide range of units. But some units honestly are super important, so I'm just going to briefly run through the units I think these are going to benefit the most from. And of course our top dog is Honglan. If you have a spare Honglan lying around, right, just have it. Why? It's because at passive, right, just the passive alone is so freaking broken, and having an extra Honglan for the dual gates is going to be super helpful. Talia as well is good for the mana battery potential, and of course Vivi with her speed buff is extremely crucial when it comes to this strategy also. And the good thing is that she can cast it at the start of battle. Even if you were to have her die subsequently, right, she already got one cast off, and that is very, very important, especially in conjunction with using a Catherine, like I mentioned just now earlier, right? If you have the Vivi and a Catherine both using this trick itself, it will speed up the speed at which Catherine can get her invincibility up. So subsequently, once she does her first invincibility, I think the use is already done. Even if she dies after that, I think it's totally fine. But based on positioning, maybe you will have her survive as well. And then, of course, we cannot forget about having a second tank, be it like a Petra or Chloe. I would definitely suggest Chloe, because at lower ascensions, if you were to just use this trick itself, right, it might not be that effective if you were to use another tank. So Chloe will be my top choice for this like trick itself. If you have other tanks, you don't have Chloe, you can try whether that works for you. Claire will work for interruption purpose because of her dash, right? That will also be very helpful. Memphi can be used as well for her debuff itself, and here you can see also increases like the opponent's chance to take the crit damage, so it's very useful. So generally, I would say that most supports are super good. You can use it in a variety of ways, right? Who you want to put it on the level sync to exploit this, it's really up to you. You can put extra Lindsay's. If the subsequent like Doggett has a Adrian, you can use it to exploit that fact that she'll taunt it. And then, of course, other healers are also fine. Erika is also fine. Prim is also fine. Adrian is also good, but normally I think that people wouldn't have like that many Adrian duplicates for you to use it, right? So, but if you do have it, Adrian is also a good pick at that. So these are all generally very good picks, and this trick itself propelled my account, I would say, definitely significantly when it comes to Hall of Memories. Also, because Hall of Memories, right, I was able to clear higher difficulties just using this trick, simply because the units in the Hall of Memories, they like to jump to the back line, right? They like to kill off my supports first. So if they kill off my Vivi, then I would have a Vivi to use for the rest of the battle. Of course, I can use those potions, but those potions comes like once a week, so they're also quite precious. At most, I would suggest using like one of those potions per week, right, just to balance it out. I wouldn't really use too many potions just to squeeze out an extra like difficulty for Hall of Memories, which is why this trick comes in super nifty to help you get that additional rewards for that upgraded Hall of Memories, upgraded dual gates. And lastly, we all know that the Guild Boss and the Champions Arena is coming, where we need to field multiple teams. Although I'm not 100% confident that you are able to do so for this game modes itself, but if you can do so as a beginner, right, having a duplicate of a Vivi, having a duplicate of a Catherine is going to be super helpful when it comes to this game modes, especially in PvP, right? Maybe for Guild Boss not as relevant to have Catherine, but we can't really tell what kind of Guild Boss is going to be. If they have high damage output, we might really need Catherine's help as well. Now, these nifty tricks can really squeeze out the additional progression on a day-to-day basis and week-to-week basis on your account, right? Most importantly, you have to focus your resources in the right places and the right units. That's why definitely I recommend you guys checking out this video over here, where I touch on how to focus your resources through a delivery of telling you why exactly people say DPS is king. I'll see you guys over there. This is Corky Gachas, signing off.